My name is James Weigold. I am the president and founder of We Care. This YouTube video is one that will bring clarity to a complaint that I believe is unjustified. Nobody's perfect. I did make mistakes, but I immediately corrected them. The photograph you're looking at now is dated 7/8 of 2011. The DVD will be in its entirety from my initial visit that I spec'd out the property prior to even making an appointment with a client to the completion of the job. Our standard procedure is to document all work being done with DVD as the job is worked on. This information is then given to the client at the end of the project so they could see the prep work and the details that went into the installation of their project. This information is valuable at this particular time for you to make a judgment on the letter that the Angie's List customer wrote in complaint of my project and what you can see and understand for yourself. I mentioned nobody's perfect, but you'll see a pent roof at the top above a bay window. It's the second one. The first one was not big enough. I did miscommunicate to my son and did not express the desire for the client to have it be bigger than the one next door. He built it that would marry the size and emulate the one adjoining this twin property. There was also a mistake in the back of the property where a hole was drilled for a heat wire to go through the garage, which was about a ½ inch over too far and too big, which was corrected immediately. The second floor bow window had some trim on the inside that was a ½ inch over on one side and not big enough on the other side, which you'll see for yourself, which is fairly obvious, and again, we corrected that. But I believe the misunderstanding or the miscommunication on my part on the expectations of the client on energy efficiency and pointing of this house is the main sticking point. And after looking at the property, I really felt that pressure washing the bricks and sealing them with a masonry sealer would give them a better return on their investment than a complete pointing of this property. These are thoughts that went into my whole decision-making process on my proposal. My initial proposal included in the front of the property there the possibility of a vent going in that glass block window, a possibility of us working on some doors. There were lots of things that were in our initial proposal that the client had for a couple weeks and then decided to pick and choose what they wanted. We left out the doors, we left out the glass block, and we went forward with our contract. You'll hear me talking about using silicone on vertical cracks only due to the fact that the silicone doesn't scream a different color rather than masonry. If you're doing a complete pointing of a property, that would be different. But when you're doing a little random, which is a word that sometimes can come back to bite you, but a little bit here, a little bit there, sometimes if it's only a little bit, it's best to do it with clear silicone. At the end, you'll see me discounting actually with my DVD camera the receipt for the client. There's a 500-hour holdback where the random pointing in the back of the property was not done by me because I felt that no matter what I would do, it would not be satisfactory. I wanted the client to commission their own pointer to come in and do that random pointing in that 3 square foot area so she could either be satisfied or not satisfied. And I gave a generous $1,000 discount off the project to cover that small area that had to be pointed in a random area. Also due to the stone front that you see there in this picture, where it had been band-aided prior with someone else doing some random cement work. And I said I would grind down best as possible. And I recommended sealing those stones with masonry sealer at the same time. There really is not an exact figure on that. It's something on a job that's that size that we just kind of throw in while we're doing a major project. My cost analysis was done on the roof. My cost analysis was done on the complexity of the bow windows and the pent structure and the complexity of staging and doing the particular job. And there's a complaint about my price or my cost at the end. The client had to bid for a prolonged period of time, made a decision to commission me, and now is putting this complaint that I believe is justified for the purpose of me making mistakes because nobody's perfect, but not for the extent of the description of me damaging their property and them having to call another contractor in to do the work over, because that is not correct. The project is still as it was when I left. I believe you'll be able to view for yourself that I did not damage or do anything destructive to this property. And as far as my price and not giving a breakout or a breakdown, it was not an issue in the beginning, and now it seems to be an issue at the end. I will interrupt this DVD periodically to point out a couple of the issues that I just explained. And please keep in mind the dozens and dozens and dozens of positive letters that reflect the intent of my company to really have the best interest of the client at mind at all times. I hope the sincerity of this explanation will come across. It does bother me. I do wish to say at any time, if it was in my power, I will do whatever's necessary to make it right for the client. I just don't know what to do. Thank you. Angie's List customer. She would like to really have just a jealousy vent. I told her the possibility, she realizes it could crack and the whole block could go in, but I figure we could maybe figure we can get an elongated vent in here, or else that would probably be the best, because it's only 3 rows up, James, and maybe you go right across with it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we could always put a new one in. I'll take some input from you. Client would like to have a bay window here. She'd like to have a bay window here with the pent, and these windows have all failed. She wants other windows later down the road, but right now she like to start with at least the front here and the front up top here. Pause. Double door combination here, storm and entry. Pause. Some issues with the doors down the side. It's well painted. She had talked about some pointing. There might be some random spots, but really, I think these bricks should be sealed, and so should the stone. You don't want to overspend, but I think some masonry sealer would go a long way in protecting. And these bricks seems like they're really pretty tight as far as the joints go. She had mentioned about some deteriorated wood down at the bottom. Pause. The rest of these windows have failed, and she'll have them done later. But right now she's cool. But again, these bricks look like they're in pretty darn good shape. Back of property again. Pointing looks great. Really does. Old antenna, satellite dish. I'm not sure if that's active. Should probably do an evaluation for white rubber. Yeah, back online. I'm not sure if that was just recording or not. Took an incoming phone call. Nice property. Pause. A couple things I think aren't right is, number one, a 3-inch eave box here at the top should be a 4 to evacuate, and also a 4-inch downspout will evacuate the water. There's a big roof, it's a big property, so you should try to get that water off. That's something that could be looked at. Yeah, basement door. Really, this pointing's in good shape. I just checked to make sure I had the right house, 41. I can see where she's done a little touch up here. That really should have been done with like a clear silicone so it wouldn't scream. But I'm back online to show the sincerity of my desire not to have the clients spend money for a pointing job that wasn't really necessary. You will see where someone else had done some horizontal pointing with a material that really truly screams or exasperates the going up on the angle. But I actually take the appointment card and look at it because I believe I'm at the wrong address. I just wanted to double check. Now that's something that cannot be just made up. It's true. It is. Evaluate it for yourself. Thank you. And she's done a little bit along the top there. That should also have been done in a clear silicone. And again, a masonry sealer on all the bricks. Pause. And just another view of the house on this side. Okay, that's about it. Dark screen coming up. This is the end of my preliminary visit. The next scene you'll see is my son Jeffrey pressure washing down the property, getting it ready for the sealer. You'll then see the bow windows being installed, the pent being done, and the corrections of miscommunication and mistakes that were rectified as quickly as we found out about them.
You can see Jeffrey power washing. He's already power washed here. He's done the A peak. He's just now starting to set himself over onto this side. back online. You can see Jeff is now finishing up this upper area on the side here. He's working his way down. He's done from the chimney. You can see where the chimney is down. And we're going to work back. Okay, back online. You can see all this lower area has been done. You can see on the chimney here where we started. There Jeffrey's now setting up to start working everything else. Okay, back online. You can see these two wires here. This is where we've stopped. From here back, it's not been done. And all the rest on the front has. You can see it drying now.
You'll hear my coworker explaining that we had to stop the project due to a failure in equipment. And there's a complaint in this letter that I truly don't understand, because equipment does fail. Things break. We replaced the hose, came back the next day and continued the project.
The reason we're stopping is the hose is busted.
Finishing up a bow window. See, we're insulating, trimming. There's some prep blocks, help us with the 45. Little insulation. Hang up some #1 pine. Picture frame it. Have 4 casement windows, or 4 windows open up on a bow. Outside we got a shingle.
You'll be hearing an explanation from my son Justin, giving an explanation on the trimming out and finishing of the first floor bow window, where we're packing it with insulation and doing the trim work. There was no complaint at all with this particular part of our project.
So we trim up. Putty these holes.
You're now listening and seeing an explanation from my son Justin on the completion of the second floor bay window, where the pen structure was constructed to emulate the one next door. Further on in the DVD, you'll see how it is being rebuilt, because it was not to the size my client initially requested, and I did not communicate clearly to my son Justin. Again, nobody's perfect.
All finished up, new bow windows. All 4 windows open up on each. Got a new pen above this one, have to. Not super big, but it's something that covers the top of the window, because these windows, these bow windows, they come out from the brick line. Looking good.
You're about to see and hear me reviewing and documenting a service request due to trim molding on the second floor bow window not being satisfactory. You can see obviously that it protrudes approximately 1/4 inch at the bottom, which we rectified, and also it didn't come over further enough on the other side. Yeah, James, you can see how this molding is sticking over on the edge here across the bottom. And I'm just going to come over to the other side. I'm on the right-hand side of the bow window, and I don't want that sticking out like that. So we're going to have to come over and make that correction either today or tomorrow, but I'll make sure the client knows when we're coming. Be back.
You see the opening though, and it goes up back in here. Just push it all the way in the back, and it's cool. You don't have to like either cover what it's supposed to do, and it'll be flush on there. But right here, it should be mitered, right? Am I correct, or and not hanging out the way it does over there?
Well, that one's hung over on the one side there. Actually, what they should have done probably is they cut the piece underneath and had to come over a little bit further
and then drop
here.
that one onto that,
and then drop that one onto that.
Or you miter it so it doesn't like it
well, no, they can miter it, but they can bring a piece over.
Well,
and they can get it back. But the problem is this. Let me show you. See this wool here? How it's going right here? The wool goes that way, and then it sticks out here.
But if this was pushed back,
Well, I can push it.
This will give as it goes, and you push it back
Sure.
and you hit it, walk it in. You know.
Yeah, we can walk it in.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Right.
Yeah, but it's just going to be a little more exposed here. But we can walk it
Fine.
back.
Yeah, but I'm saying, and this, that's
so it'll be tight.
and the thing over there. When she sees little stuff like that,
It's not a problem.
She saw that drain thing. And
I know
saw that,
exactly
and
what you-
I'm
I know exactly what you want.
I got to put myself in her shoes. See what I'm saying?
Not a problem. I know exactly
she's
what's
like,
got to be done. Okay, so we're going to feather this back up against the wall, bring this piece over on top of it, and don't have the other piece hanging over the edge. I'm cool with that. Okay, I'm clear with it. Pause. I'm cool. I know it sounds repetitive, but nobody's perfect. And sometimes customers' expectations are just not obtainable. I did send my oldest son, James, back to make the corrections with these moldings and feather things back in place. And I heard nothing from the client about them not being satisfied with that correction. Made bigger. You're now looking and listening to myself articulate the correction that needed to be made to this particular pent roof to the customer's satisfaction. I immediately had another crew come and rebuild this to the proper size, which you will see later on in this DVD. And I accept full responsibility for this miscommunication. We can put a piece of something on the outside. We can go up a little higher with it, reshingle it up higher, just so it's at least proportion with the one next door. I had called this one skimpy, and ours is even skimpier. And I'm like between a hard place and a rock. I got to get this taken care of. Pause. What you're about to see and hear is an explanation of one of my coworkers explaining how he corrected a problem with a heat wire where the hole was drilled approximately a ½ inch too big and a ½ inch over too far, which again, we immediately corrected.
You can see the old hole that's been there. I got a new cap made to go over the old hole. Once I set the spout on the wire, I tried to use a 4-inch spout here. It did not work because of this bracket right here. You can see it only comes off the wall, and I can't go any further than that. It's too thick. So there was a reason everyone has 3 here. You can see how pressure tight it is there with that 3-inch. As I'm heading up to the main here, you can see the orange on the copper. Like I was saying, this isn't old at all. You can see how the seal is sealed in. You can see the second layer here. That's covered everything. We've covered all pipes, removed the satellite. You can see the back area of the chimney, all across the back of your shingles, up the back of the A-peak, also across the party box. And you can see we do the whole wall to make sure everything's sealed across the top of the wall. Everything came out nice. You can see all the windows have been sealed off with tarp, clear, blue tape, seal everything off. You can see also over the shingle and the flash. This is for the water sealing that we're getting ready to do. Okay, back online. All the power washing has been complete. Everything's drying. You can see the ground starting to dry. The new 3-inch square spout with heat wire has been installed. And also over here, you'll notice, you can see where the old hole was. This is what I think his problem was. He didn't want it in the center with a big hole. He wanted it cut through the side. I noticed that because I looked over here. You can see where all the wires go in. They sneak in right at the caulk line. So I'm pretty sure that's what his problem was with this wire. Now, I can't let it out at the ground because of this cast iron pipe. It has to come out where the cast iron pipe is, because you can't drill through this. You can only drill through that to let it out. So then it comes in here. This has all been stuffed with insulation and repacked in. This is all going to be covered up and sealed. You can see the extra slack of wire right here. I put a little bow tie on it, zip tie to hold it. It's going to have to plug it in over here. Now what I'm going to do is clean and caulk this new cap I put on. Seal everything off. I'm going to close this off with a cap that I have. Seal everything off, close it off. And also take care of in here. Now around on the side, just got everything sealed and taped off. I just want to show.
What you're about to see and hear from one of my coworkers is the prep work prior to sealing the bricks after the pressure washing was complete. Prep work is important to cover up glass and vinyl. I think we did an excellent job with that. And you'll see my son Jeffrey putting a masonry sealer, which is a protective that's necessary every so many years, even on masonry and bricks, which was part of my recommendation to my client with my initial proposal.
You can see all the tape and plastic around each of the windows. Same thing here. That's all of them. I don't know if I should go over and review each one, but you can see the plastic draped over each of them and sealed in. Same thing. Door's been taped and sealed off. All the windows. Tops of the ACs and the windows here. See. The rest of this A-peak, like we pointed out earlier. And you can see up here must be all sealed in. It's working its way down. Okay, back online. You can see how I've created a lid to hold all my caulking in, because if you don't, that's what happens. It falls in. So you can see there's a lid on top to keep all the caulk sealed in. I'm getting ready to caulk and clean all this. You can see the cap is all caulked and sealed in, cleaned. You see the wires run through where the caulk line is. You can also see here, everything's nice and tight. See all the way around. Just wanted to show it is clamped and also zipped in all spots. Back here on Fawn Street, just showing that the top plate's on. It's bolted in. You caulk the top of it, say you're caulking it.
What you're now seeing is the rebuilding of the pent on the second floor bay done to the customer's specifications.
Alright. Got all the studs in. Putting the face on it now. Just showing the video.
What you're about to listen to is my son Jeff explaining how he ground down the discoloration of cement and caulk that was done prior by another contractor that was sloppily done. The result was not satisfactory for expectations, and you will hear shortly and see that I suggested to the client to have raised pointing being done where it is chipped out completely, all of the cement pointing between the stones, and re-stone pointed with a raised veneer. Once this process was complete, we would come back and finish the sealing of the stones.
Grinded all the caulk out of the cracks as best I could with the grinding wheel. And I'll fill what I can with some clear silicone. Back online, just showing where I put the clear silicone.
sealing it up. It's starting to rain, so we're just sealing it up for the weekend. Still gotta put the hips on the left side there. And
Back online, you can see the windows here. Came out beautiful. You can also see her new pent roof. Which is bigger than the neighbors, which is what she wanted. Contour to the A-peak. You can see I've sealed off both sides. With silicone, everything in there. All the peaks and valleys. Same thing on this side. So I just want to show what's left. I still have to do the shingling right here. Right there. I got to run a cap across the top. You can see the home plates are done on the other side. And also finish back here with the Thompson water seal.
What you're about to see and hear is my explanation at the time of the completion of the project for an additional payment to be made, and a change in the agreement for the client to obtain another contractor to do a small portion of random pointing that I did not feel comfortable and they did not feel comfortable having me do. That was a part of my original proposal. Which was not a part of my proposal was raised stone pointing in the front that I believe would be necessary to meet the expectations of the customer's satisfaction of the base of the front of the property. So I felt a $1,000 reduction was more than fair. They would acquire someone who could meet their expectations. They would commission someone to do so, and I would then come back and finish the sealing with a masonry sealer on the stone base and the bricks in the back. Okay, this is sort of a final but not yet complete. I'll be making a DVD for the client of what we've done up on the roof, and everything else is done. I'll be giving that to the client once we finalize the rest of the stone ceiling on the front and brick ceiling in the back. We're taking $1,000 off of the project. The client's going to commission a stone pointer to stone point in the front, because what we had done out there is not ever going to be right as far as grinding it down and trying to seal it. So she'll get a stone pointer in here. He'll come in, do the raised pointing. Once that has cured, she'll call us back. We'll then finish the sealing in the back. It'll be a $500 balance, and the sealing of the stones in the front, and we'll be complete here. Right now I'm picking up, this is 7/11/11, check number 2292 for the amount of $21.75. So we're paid in full with the except of $500 that will be paid upon completion of the stone ceiling in the front and the brick ceiling in the back. Dark screen coming up. This split screen photograph reflects me pointing out with my finger the cracks that I did not wish to do with a masonry, cement, caulk, or sealant. The photograph on the right was not, I repeat, not done by my company. I believe the client commissioned someone else to do it, and my concerns over the inappropriate look should be obvious. I do not like giving a discount or giving back money because it shows sometimes guilt. But in this particular case, at this particular time, at this particular point, in this particular contract, I knew that whatever I would do would not be acceptable. In closing, I believe the letter is disingenuous and does not reflect the true desire on my part to give my customer a return on their investment. I believe the energy efficiency of the windows and the white rubber roofing and the aesthetics, the whole package was all completed in a timely manner at a fair price. And I don't mind sounding redundant. Nobody's perfect.
Here at We Care, we take great exception to the overall response to this member's report to Angie's List on WeCareFreeEstimates.com. No one is perfect. I, James Carl Weigold, owner and founder of We Care, have failed to meet this customer's expectations, but I'm extremely proud of the work that we have completed at a fair price. Initially, I was taken aback by the opening statement from the member stating that damage was done to their property and they had to have work redone, implying that they had brought another contractor in to do the work, which they did not. Our standard procedure is to commit each and every job to video on DVD from the initial visit through the progress of the job, including the completed project. We have posted this video on YouTube. You can judge our work for yourself. This video clearly shows we addressed and remedied any and all concerns that the customer presented during the progress of this project. The customer requested multiple things to be accomplished, such as roofing, windows, etc. We provided them with a detailed proposal a week in advance, to which they agreed to 7 days later after they made modifications. The customer had an additional 30 days before we started their job. In all of that time, they never indicated to us which portion, if any, of our agreement was most important to them. A follow-up conversation uncovered a concern by the customer on repointing the entire house. This was not in either our proposal or in the contract. We installed 2 large bow windows, one of which was an extremely difficult install on the second floor of their property. The customer expressed dissatisfaction with a piece of the inside trim work, and we've replaced this piece of trim as soon as it was brought to our attention. This window also required the fabrication and installation of a pent roof. My personal failure was not explaining to my son Justin, the lead mechanic on the job, of the customer's request to make the pent larger than the neighbor's pent. When the customer expressed displeasure over the size of the pent that was installed, which was identical to their neighbor's in size, we immediately rebuilt one to the size that the customer wanted. I was wrong. I did not clearly communicate this information to my son Justin. I repeat, no one is perfect. When we were installing the elastomeric roofing system, we priced the job with a new eave box. The customer's eave box was in excellent condition, so we gave the customer a credit for the eave box that we did not have to install in the amount of $275. In our contract, there was 3 square feet of random pointing and approximately 75 square feet of grinding down and wire brushing mortar joints on their stone base to try to improve someone else's sloppy work, which we included in our agreement at no charge due to our negative experiences in the past trying to patch repair someone else's work. The customer expressed dismay on our approach. We eliminated the random pointing and grinding down and wire brushing mortar joints on their stone base and gave the customer a considerable $1,000 discount to use towards having this work done to their satisfaction. Also, this customer states that they should have stopped the work when our men came to power wash and the machine failed after several hours of work. Equipment sometimes fails. We did return with a working machine and accomplished the power washing. The sealing of the bricks on the rear of the home was put on hold until the customer had the 3 square feet of random pointing work accomplished to their satisfaction. We had the customer hold back $500 until the sealing of the bricks on their back wall was completed. The customer claims that they did not press for an itemized bill. Now, in hindsight, feels that the monies deducted for the work we did not do was arbitrary. WeCare was more than generous, giving a $275 credit for an eave box and a $1,000 credit for 3 square feet of pointing work and approximately 75 square feet of grinding and wire brushing the mortar joints on the stone base to try to improve someone else's sloppy work that we included at no charge to the customer. Due to the overall project size and negative experience of trying to patch repair another mechanic's work, and as for WeCare overcharging for the work accomplished, we gave the price to the customer up front. The customer agreed to the price and signed the contract. Additionally, we discounted generously for the work we did not do. Now they feel we overcharged them, giving us an F on price. After more than 35 years in the remodeling business, I have realized there are some customer expectations that just cannot be satisfied. We've given the best we have to this customer, and even now would do whatever we could within reason to satisfy them, if only. Please, as an Angie's List member, take into consideration the dozens and dozens and dozens of other positive reports on Angie's List. WeCare is proud to be represented as a Super Service awarded contractor. Please link on to my personal mission of www.disclosureforthepublic.com, where municipality disclosure will offer the consumer the ratio of repeat business and referral versus advertising. I am proud that less than 10% of our business comes from conventional marketing and that over 90% of our business comes from off-the-job recommendations, referrals, including computer-generated referrals, and repeat business, all because of the productivity, ingenuity, and honesty that we provide to each and every customer. Thank you for understanding that no one is perfect. I do care. James Carl Weigold.